8 years ago, I guess, sung by you, Come to Your Senses. Can we have two lines for our audience?
What to sing?
Method acting versus natural acting.
I don't really call anything natural acting. I would say theater is still best medium for actors to train in. Method acting, as how people know it because of media, is different from what it actually is.
Stage acting versus camera acting versus street acts. How do you see the Philippines entertainment industry performing at the moment?
In comparison to other industries in other parts of the world, we're still very behind.
Even I have very little knowledge about the Meisner teaching techniques. So please just brief us about what is it.
When you're about to play a character, you shouldn't judge them because you need to understand where that character is coming from. Sadly, it is the reality that people have shorter attention spans now.
How do you see AI integration in the entertainment industry?
I don't like that it's taking away jobs from actors. If it is used to
First of all, Alex, welcome to Unicorn Talks. We are great to have you on this podcast. And let's start with the basic question. For audience, just brief about yourself. Who is Alex? Have you entered the entertainment industry? And why you have chosen the profession of teacher rather than being a personality who can just influence the audience and gather the fame and popularity?
Oh, wow, what a question. Well, I'm Alecx Lorica. I am the founder of Sightlines Actors Space, which is an international acting school based here in the Philippines. And why did I pursue being a full-time acting coach rather than pursuing fame or being a personality like what you were saying? I would say I really fell in love with the craft of acting and what it can do to impact society and culture, how art can impact society and culture. And me, myself, I'm an avid learner. And so I find fulfillment in being able to be part of someone's growth and journey. And I think that's why I pursue teaching and establish my own school. I want to impart tools in terms of helping artists and human beings in general grow and be more connected with other people. And for me, it's really the love for the craft and what it does to us. And I think art is really an essential thing for us to have because it's what connects us to our humanity.
Mhm.
And so being part of that journey for other people, for me, is really I feel like is my calling and in a way, what a legacy that I get to leave to this world if once I pass. Yeah.
Okay. So, what was that one moment, one key moment, which just triggered you to be in this industry? What was that?
In this industry, well, I've always wanted to be an actor since forever. Since I was young, I was 2, 3 years old, and I always loved performing. I would try to get an audience to watch me as a kid. Truly, like my mom has so many anecdotes of me. Like, she would take me to her office, and then there was one time I was wandering around and I went inside someone's meeting room, and there was a bunch of people having a meeting, and then I told them, hey, do you want me to sing for you? So I've always been into performing, but I would say the pinnacle moment that really activated my love for teaching was when I was in college, and I experienced being an assistant director for the first time for a theater production.
Okay.
And then when I tried it out, I saw that I had a knack for it, and I found it really fulfilling. And from that point, and also being introduced to different acting approaches and techniques through my theater arts course, that's really what ignited my love for the craft of acting beyond wanting to perform or beyond wanting the spotlight on me. It became something that is not about me, but really about other people, and how, in a way, when you're telling these stories, you get to represent people in real life, and you can make people feel seen through their stories and make them feel less alone. And so I think that's something that's really empowering. And so that's how I view storytelling nowadays, rather than seeing it as a chance to have the spotlight, a chance for a fame, or like to have a lot of people following you. Like, that's not how I see it. It's really about the craft. And that's when I fell in love with teaching and decided, hey, I kind of want to have my own acting school someday. So yeah.
So this was pre-decided, like you want to start as like the institute which crafts the artist, rather than just crafting, like delivering the results or the scripts.
Yeah, I would say like it became more about the craft really when I was in college. Prior to that, I think a lot of actors or performers even would say like we do enjoy the spotlight. I mean, there is a part of it. Like when you initially start off, I think there's I love being at the center stage and whatnot. But as you grow and mature, and when you really start connecting with the craft in itself, it becomes way more than that.
Okay, so you're a Meisner teacher, right?
Yes.
Okay, so please tell the audience, like even I have very little knowledge about the Meisner teaching techniques. So please just brief us about what is it.
Sure. Yeah, so Meisner is an acting approach. So it was developed by Sanford Meisner himself during the rise of film. And it's one of the popular acting approaches, I would say, that is taught in a lot of universities who are taking like acting programs, like a BFA acting program, or even MFAs. And me personally, so it was one of the techniques that I was introduced to when I was taking theater arts in college. And what drew me to this particular acting approach is it was able to address the obstacles that I was facing as an actor at the time when I was in university. And I find that it's so useful when it comes to developing the foundational skills that you need as an actor, regardless of what media, whether it's for film, TV, theater, voice acting. It's something that you can use. And so the skills that you get to develop, for example, is what it means to, or let's say, what obstacles did I face as an actor that Meisner was able to help me get through, is the habit of overthinking. Like, a lot of actors struggle with overthinking and overanalyzing. I think a lot of people in general, not just actors, struggle with that. So how do you overcome overthinking? Like, what does it mean to really listen? And what does it mean to let go in a scene and to let go of control? So that was something I was struggling with too. It was a lot of, like, I felt that my acting felt too controlled or planned. So what's good with Meisner is it gives you an approach and a clear how when it comes to trying to overcome those obstacles that a lot of actors commonly face.
Okay.
And it teaches you what it means. So a particular skill that I personally love that you learn from Meisner is how to put your full attention on the other person, what it means to really listen and take them in. So how to work off the other person and allow yourself to be affected fully by your scene partner, really listen and letting yourself be affected and fully by it. And it sounds simple, but it's easier said than done, because as human beings, as we go through life, we get conditioned to stop ourselves from feeling, because there's so much happening in the world. So it's not often that we allow ourselves to be affected fully and to really, it's a lot of bottling up. Or, for example, how many times have we said, I'm fine, even though we're not fine?
Many a times,
Right.
yeah, that's
Many times, yeah. But the thing is, when you're an actor, you need to be honest and in tune with your true emotions. And so Meisner helps you, at least for me, it's really helped me process my own feelings, identify them, and actually allow myself to feel it, not necessarily intellectualize it, but really feel it. And aside from working off the other person and allowing yourself to be affected fully, it really helps you also to follow your impulse. Like, what does it mean to follow your true instincts, to not hesitate as an actor? And the Meisner approach, acting approach, also relies on your imagination. So there are many exercises that really help you develop your imagination and how your ability to believe in different imaginary circumstances, because there's some acting approaches that depend more on memory and real life experience, whereas Meisner, that's not the case, because the argument is our memories, our experience is limited, whereas our imagination is unlimited. And that's why when we watch films or when we read books, we feel real feelings because our body doesn't know the difference. And so you don't need to rely on your own experience to be able to play a character truthfully. So that's a bit of a gist. I know there was a lot of information, but that gives you an idea of what makes this approach personally stand out to me. Although that being said, in Sightlines, yes, one of the main techniques that we're teaching is Meisner, but the vision really is to be able to offer different acting approaches that go well together, because even though I use Meisner and teach Meisner, as an actor, I like mixing different approaches. So what we want is for the actors to have a diverse toolbox of acting approaches, and then at the end of the day, when they're at work, they have many things to choose from, so they don't panic, because if one's not working, they can use another thing. So I'm an advocate of learn as much as you can, learn as many acting approaches as you can. I'm not the type, okay, you just need to learn Meisner. No. I would say the Meisner is great with the foundation, but I really encourage actors to learn as many approaches as they can.
Okay, that's a valid point, that you must keep learning something new, or else you won't be able to just identify yourself, like where you stand and how capable you are to just expand your abilities.
Yes, and learning never ends. I truly believe that learning never ends. There's always something to work on, something to discover, and something I really value. I got this quote from this TV show called Ted Lasso.
Okay.
Be curious, not judgmental, and that's something I really live by. I like to act with curiosity. That's how I approach life, and that's how you're able to grow as a person and also learn not just more about yourself, but also other people in the world.
Mhm. I agree on this. Like, these are kind of golden words, that you must be curious, not judgmental to anyone, because that limits your ability to accept something new.
Exactly, and that's something that you also apply as an actor. When you're about to play a character, you shouldn't judge them, because you need to understand where that character is coming from. And that's why, to me, acting really helps you become a more empathetic human being, because you are trained to understand people, to understand their whys and why they make certain choices and decisions, why their behavior is that way.
So, just connecting another question to this is, what's your take on method acting versus natural acting?
Well, okay, well, this is going to be a long history on what method acting really is.
Sure.
If we're going to get into, if we're going to be technical about it. So there was this book by Isaac Butler about the method,
Okay.
and it documents what the method originally was and how we know it today. Because when people think about method acting, because of media, you immediately associate it with, staying in character the entire time, right? Actors going into the extremes, but that's not what it actually is. So when you're asking me the difference, it's actually the same thing, because the method was developed by Konstantin Stanislavski in Russia. So he developed the system or the method, and it's all towards truthful acting. So it's all towards truthful acting. And so Stanislavski's system was later on brought to the US, and one of the key people who tried to spread his teachings was Lee Strasberg, who was one of the founders of the group theater. And other members of the group theater were other acting teachers like Stella Adler, who's also a legendary acting teacher, and Sanford Meisner. So all these acting approaches are really just extensions of Stanislavski and the method. So all of this, technically Meisner's method, technically.
Okay.
And it's just that because of certain actors like Robert De Niro, who studied with Adler, started going into extreme lengths for his characters. Particularly, I think Raging Bull, that's when it started, when he was really changing things about his body to prepare for the role, and going into extreme lengths to really play the character truthfully. And because he studied with Adler and like it was associated with the actor studio, people thought, oh, that's what the method is. That's what they're teaching,
Okay.
which is staying in character. But actually, it's not that. And one could argue that because in Meisner we do a lot of emotional preparation, and part of emotional preparation is guided daydreaming. It's putting yourself in the shoes of the character. And so, to me, that's really okay for as long as you're not crossing anyone's boundaries.
Okay.
That's what it's down to. Like, method acting has had a negative connotation publicly because it's like, oh, that's too extreme and whatnot. And that's why you have actors who get labeled as method actors, like Jeremy Strong, for example.
Yeah.
He keeps getting labeled as a method actor because he stays in character the entire time, right? With Succession.
Yeah.
But when you ask him about it, his answer is, I don't call myself a method actor. I see it more as identity diffusion.
Okay.
But that's because, he knows that method acting, as how people know it because of media, their definition of it is different from what it actually is. So anyone who's doing truthful acting, if it can be stamped to the roots of Stanislavski, is method. So I encourage everyone who wants to really educate themselves in terms of acting history and the progression of the method to read Isaac Butler's book. So when it comes to it, like me personally, there would be certain characters that, I'd be game to really like stay in character because I know that that's what it would take, for as long as it works within my boundaries as an actor. I'm not, going beyond my boundaries, and for as long as it doesn't cross other people's boundaries. Like, another example of a healthy way would be, I would say, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog. He did method acting, wherein he stayed in character the entire time that he was on set. However, what he did was he talked to the director beforehand that would be his process for that. And so everyone in the crew and all the other actors knew that that was his process. However, he was just in character on set. On the way home, on the drive home, he would step out of character because he needs to be a dad to his kid. And so, he's still stepping out. He's working within his boundaries because he can't bring that character at home with his family. But at the same time, when he's on set, even though he's staying in character, he's not crossing anyone else's boundaries. He just wasn't talking to Kirsten Dunst because their characters were in conflict in that film. So it's really down to communication and not disrespecting anyone is my take. For as long as I believe, like, do what you gotta do to honor the character and play them truthfully, for as long as you're taking care of yourself and you're not crossing anyone else.
Okay. And how would you define natural acting?
Natural acting? I don't really call anything natural acting.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, when we say natural, I guess like it means like being truthful, right? Like going for truthful acting or like realism.
It's like
it's
being yourself.
Yeah, being yourself. What are my thoughts on it? I mean, with how I teach, with how Meisner is, you do start with getting to know yourself first, because you really need to get to know yourself in order to figure out also what kind of circumstances and characters can you easily connect with and activate you. But later on in the advanced work, you are taught how to step into characters that are farther from you. But the key thing for me, though, is the mastery of the self first, because otherwise, if you jump too far, you might end up playing just caricatures or ideas of characters and not really understanding them from their point of view. Bradley Cooper said in an interview he spent a decade mastering himself first before venturing into characters that are farther from him. And that's why if you look at his career, his earlier work, the kinds of characters that he would play is more or less the same. He doesn't do character work, right? It's all pretty much like him. But then later on, he ventured into characters that are farther from him, right? Yeah, so he spent a decade playing himself first, and then later on, that's when the character work happened, because he's mastered himself. He feels more, he's able to play characters that are farther from him truthfully. Like you look at A Star Is Born, the way the character talks, the way the character moves is so different from how he normally is.
Okay.
Even his voice work in Rocket Raccoon, for example, that's when he started doing characters with physical differences or different accents. But in his earlier work, that wasn't the case.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's my take.
All right. So just moving ahead to the connecting question to this is, how do you see stage acting versus camera acting versus street acts?
There's a lot of difference, but also a lot of similarities. Like I said, like with the Meisner approach, it's something that you can use for both. Both can be quite technical. I would say primarily though, theater is still the best medium for actors to train in.
Absolutely, I agree on
Versus
this.
film. Yeah, that like it's really the best medium. I think all actors should experience theater because it really helps build your stamina.
Yeah.
And in terms of like, doing 8 shows a week again, you really get to build your emotional stamina for it. And what's wonderful about theater is you have rehearsal time. So you really get to dive deep with these characters. Whereas here in the Philippines, you don't really get rehearsal time when you do film. It's not like in Hollywood. Wherein you get 3 to 6 months prep time, to work on characters. Here, you don't really get rehearsal time. It's quite rare for you to get rehearsal time. It's not that common just because of, financial aspects also with production. So that's the main thing. But what I do with theater, as an actor, it is a balance of truth, service, and creativity. Like, it's not just pure truth, because you need to be able to service the audience. You need to be able to reach the back of the room, right? So how do you do that? And you have to make creative choices to keep them engaged. And so I would say actors who venture into theater, Meisner is not enough. You really need movement. You definitely need voice. I would recommend other acting approaches because Meisner was developed during the rise of film. So I would say it is more helpful. Like, you can do a lot already with Meisner with film, because you can just play yourself. Like, not really yourself, but you don't really have to do. You can make a career out of not doing any heavy character work, not having to do accents, or changing your body. Whereas with theater, you really need to be in tune with your body in terms of movement, following physical impulses and whatnot. Movement and voice, though, I would still say that all actors should do it, even if you're doing film, because it is very helpful, or even like voice acting. But without it, you can have a career. You can have a successful career. The thing with film that I do love is when you're able to incorporate a lot of improvisations, which Meisner is heavy on. And what's wonderful about film is it's really capturing that one like moment, and it's now forever. Like, that's it. It can't be replicated. And so for me, that's the closest an artist could get to being immortal. Because you can be dead already, but people will still remember you for that particular performance. because it's documented.
Yes.
And so getting that money moment of just being in the flow of things and just completely connected with your scene partner and truthful, when that magic happens, it's an incredible feeling.
Right.
So I like the sense of if you have a set that is very collaborative, also if you have the funding for it, wherein you can do multiple takes of a scene
Correct.
and really like dig deep,
Yeah.
then it's such a wonderful experience to have. Yeah.
I totally agree on this because as you spoke about the stage acting, like you practice it a lot. So I guess it
Yes.
connects with Meisner's techniques because Meisner speaks about repeating the process so that you just by heart and just feel it. That is something they have
Yeah.
mentioned about. So stage acting helps to just repeat and make yourself strong enough to reduce the margin of errors, because stage acting does not allow you any kind of error to happen or else just crowd just burst out.
Well, yeah, no, but the thing is, what's wonderful about live theater is errors can happen. So if your Meisner, no, errors can happen.
Yes.
It happens all the time, technical difficulties. So if you're Meisner trained, you're able to adapt.
Yes.
That's what's good about Meisner, because it trains you to be malleable and be in the moment, so you can respond and use it if it happens. And the same thing when you're doing film, there's so many scenes documented wherein an accident happens and the actor used it, and that's what was used at the final cut because it was an interesting, good moment. And so that's what I mean by like Meisner is really something that you can use regardless of what medium. And even let's say for voice acting, a lot of the time for voice actors, they don't get their script ahead of time. So they don't have time to do a script analysis. So it's a lot of like thinking on the fly, and Meisner trains you to be able to do that. To be able to like, oh, this is how I'd connect with this is how I would respond. Yeah.
All right. And the third was street acts. Why? I'll just brief why did I mention street acts? Because during my college period, I was part of my team, and we did some street acts like deforestation, how it is impacting our lives, how it is impacting the environment, and whatnot. What kind of like social messages, majorly social messages. So it is. I just relate it to stage acting, theater acting, because it just exposes you to the wider audience and just allows you to just analyze how you are doing well and where you need to improve.
Yeah. I have friends who are focused on using theater tools and bringing them to communities for their advocacies, like with the environment, and to tackle. I took this workshop last year on Boal, which is which really helps using theater as a tool to kind of solve social issues, right? And you don't get like to arrive to a particular solution, but you can use theater as a way to investigate and explore possible solutions or to deepen your understanding of a specific issue. And that's what makes acting and theater and the arts such an important facet of our culture in the world. We get so caught up with like I remember like when the pandemic was happening, we were deemed not essential, but people got through the pandemic because of art, right? By watching films and escaping. And so to me, it truly is essential. And it's especially now with technology, funnily enough, with technology and social media, people feel more disconnected, I find. And so having acting or theater or an art form to connect people together, to truly connect, like from human to human, I think is such a powerful thing.
Yes, and I have a prime example for this. The Pursuit of Happiness. I guess almost everyone have watched that movie. The Pursuit of Happiness. Will Smith just nailed it. I just loved the movie. So that was something which tells us like you should not give up. You should trust yourself and just be honest with yourself.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
these kind of messages are always given through a lot of movies, web shows, and whatnot, theaters and all. So I guess this is a medium of connecting human to human and just delivering a
Yeah.
message if you are unaware of that specific topic.
Exactly. Exactly. And then sometimes you realize, you feel more seen by and less, again, like I said a while ago, less alone when you see a character portrayed on screen that you really connect with. And it's like, oh, I'm not the only one going through this because it's right there. And then you can find other people who connect with the same things. Like, oh, I feel less alone. This is something that other people experience. Or sometimes, you've been avoiding a problem that you've had, and then you're confronted by it on screen. And it's like, oh, I guess I really have to tackle it. Yeah.
Okay. So just moving ahead, I have a question for, like, how do you see the Philippines entertainment industry performing at the moment, and what's your take on integrating with the global audience?
Integrating with a global
Yeah.
audience for the Philippine entertainment industry. Um, it's kind of tricky for me to speak on it because I'm not at the thick of it as an acting coach. It's like I'm at the outskirts of it because I'm not. A lot of my work is really during the training process, or even, let's say, when I'm helping actors with their projects, it's pre-production. It's not during the production. So I'm not as involved when it comes to being on set, or even, let's say, with theater. I haven't been at the thick of the industry, like in the middle of production for a while now because I've been busy with running my school. But I would say, in terms of theater, there's a boom, there's a renaissance happening here in the Philippines. There's so many theater productions happening right now, so many original production. It's a diverse, uh, there's a diverse material available. There are like big scale musical productions, there's original musicals, there are musicals, there are international ones coming here or being staged, Broadway musicals being restaged here by local artists, but there are also smaller scale production companies that are producing original straight plays, both in Filipino and in English. So it's quite diverse, but there's still, when it comes to theater, there's no pattern yet when it comes to what reaches an audience, because there are times wherein it's so easy to sell out shows, and then there are times wherein people are struggling to sell shows. So there's like, I feel like the Philippine theater industry is still learning and trying to figure out, trying to gather more data with the behavior of the audience. When it comes to film and television, I mean, there's been a lot of changes, and I think there is more effort to connect in the global scale with all the film festivals happening here. Also, with the, I think it has helped that there are a lot of prominent Filipino actors making a career outside, like in Hollywood. Like you have Dolly De Leon, after her success in Triangle of Sadness, has had continuous work. And so having us be more known globally, I would say, would help the network here. But again, I'm not at the thick of it, so I don't know the specific obstacles or issues that we could be facing, from like the production standpoint. Uh, what I can speak on, though, is because we're currently the partner of one of the biggest acting agencies here in the Philippines with Star Magic. From my experience there, there's a lot of openness to learn from the artists that I'm handling there. There is also a vision to connect globally, and to find a way to elevate our storytelling here. Although there's still a lot more to work on, definitely, there's still a lot more to work on. I would say we're still very behind when it comes to process. But there are um, moves being done So even let's say when it comes to kinds of laws being enforced, like there are new bills that are being passed to help protect artists. So that's a good thing. But if we were to take a look at it in comparison to other industries in other parts of the world, we're still very behind. But what's good is that there is progress. I just hope it's faster. And I am hoping that we're also like through Sightlines, I'm able to do work to help with the innovations and the progress happening here in the Philippines.
Okay, okay, cool. And what's your take on OTT platforms? Because OTT platforms are rising a lot, and it is allowing a lot of
Sorry, what
actors,
are OTT
like the
platforms?
web series, the Netflix, Amazon
Ah, web
Prime.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's ultimately a good thing
Mm-hmm.
in terms of diversifying. I know that it does impact film
Yes.
cinemas. It has a heavy impact on cinemas, but I think because it's the current state, we need to find a way to work with it. Me personally, if Sightlines were to produce work, I would lean into creating digital content just because there's a wider reach and there's a larger market for it. Um, Sadly, it is the reality that people have shorter attention spans now, right? People have shorter attention spans now. And so, you know, for me, that might be the best approach in order, like if we were to produce stuff with our students, with our actors, one, because it's digital, you can reach it to a global scale, right? So in terms of network, if you want to collaborate with other artists from other parts of the globe, that's a good way to kind of let yourself be seen by other people rather than limiting it to like cinema screenings, right? Um, and so there's more flexibility to it. There is a question of is there too much content nowadays?
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you find the right audience, there will be people watching.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would love to do a web series. Me personally, like for me as an actor and
Mm.
for even as a creative in terms of like developing work. Yeah, that's pretty much my take on it.
Okay. And speaking from the tech point of view, like AI integration has been prominent in several industries. So, how do you see AI integration in the entertainment industry?
It's really tricky. Um, I think it can't be avoided. It's like with the rise of, you know, the internet. It's like how when film transitioned to color or when film transitioned to having sound, AI is gonna be there. But me personally, I am struggling with what it means morally just because of the impacts to the environment, right? And also how I don't like that it's taking away jobs from actors. If it is used to speed up the process and enhance things, I think that's for me okay for as long as it doesn't take away from the job of the actors. So like the ethical and moral implications of it is what I am personally struggling with. Uh, and so and for example, like if you're gonna write scripts, to just depend on an AI to write a script just doesn't feel right. And I've read some problems. It's like the human aspect is missing, and it's such a dangerous path to pursue because again, with technology, we're gonna feel even more disconnected. And I feel like a lot of conflict arising in the world is because people feel disconnected. And so there needs to be a way to use technology to really help human beings connect more. I think helping, like using AI to solve problems is good, and like with medicine and whatnot, with helping people, yes. But if it's to take away jobs, then I'm not for it.
Okay. And I agree with this because I've heard that it is impacting the voiceover industry. You see,
specific ways.
there are a couple of singers who have passed away, but their original voice has been recorded, and AI is being fed with their voice, and it just replicates
Ah,
their
yes,
voice.
voice. Yes, yes, yes.
So it
Sorry,
can
I
be.
was trying to understand voice industry. Yes, I have a lot of like students who are voice
Yeah,
actors, and so thinking about like, there needs to be a way to protect also our face and
yeah.
voice, right? Like if you're gonna use it multiple times, we better be getting paid for all of those times. Like don't cut corners, right?
Yeah, we have royalty for it, but don't you think it just reduces the
I know.
human touch, the emotions which we hold in our voices, in on our faces, the expressions we hold?
Exactly. I've seen so many AI videos of people like trying to copy actors, like the facial expressions and voice. And it's like, I don't feel anything. And that's because as human beings, we just know how to connect. We know if there's something off. I think there's a biological or like a chemical aspect to it. Like it's like how I would tell students, um, we get a sense as an audience member if the acting is truthful or not. I would ask students, how many times have you watched a show wherein the actor is crying a lot, but you don't feel anything? Because part of you knows that it's fake. But then how many times have you experienced wherein the actors aren't crying, but you're crying and you're moved by it? So there's a sense if it's like truthful or not. I think it's just innate in us. And so with AI, it just I personally really don't like its impact to art.
Okay, because that's a big thing which we must keep discussing on, because it just reduces the artist from the industry, and the emotions which we
Yeah.
used to hold for so many years, like centuries, it just vanishes out.
Tech can study us all they want, but the human soul aspect, I think, cannot be captured.
I totally agree to this. Like, humans are the soul of expressing things through theaters
Yes.
on camera. So if it is
Yeah.
missing, then it is of no use to us.
And I mean, theater has been, deemed dying for a century now,
Yeah,
and it's still here.
yeah. It
It's
still
not gonna
exists.
go away. Yeah, and I think as human beings, there's the deep desire to connect, and
Mhm.
so we're gonna continue to push back.
Okay.
I think,
Yes.
yeah.
And I have very limited questions now. So I just want to ask, beyond acting, what are other opportunities for the artist in the entertainment industry, like singing, music, or cinematography? And what else do we have?
I think as an actor, you shouldn't limit yourself to just acting. I think it helps, like, if you are, for example, frustrated with, wanting to tell stories of characters that you can really connect with, then write. Find ways to, like, that's the importance of building a community for me through Sightlines is it's important for you to find like-minded people that you can create and collaborate with so that you're not just waiting for the job, and a lot of artists found success through that. You think about Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she was an actor and then she wasn't happy with the kinds of roles that are available, and so she started writing her own stuff, and that's how she became known. If it's not through writing, I also think generally learning is important, and so as an actor, if learning about cinematography, learning about directing, learning about producing. A lot of actors nowadays are producers. You think about
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood actors, even them, they struggle
Yes.
with like finding characters they connect with. You think about Reese Witherspoon. She was so frustrated with the kinds of women that are written, that are available, and so she started her own production company seeking stories that represent women better and a more diverse group of women, more complex women.
Yes.
And so there's so many ways. There's so many, and there's new forms of art developing as we progress.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the key thing again is to just be curious and try to see what you'd be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also because I'm a multi hyphenate myself, I don't stick to one thing.
Okay.
I think it's also important as an artist to not just try and expose yourself to many things and learn. It's also so important to live your life because that's gonna inform your art.
Yes, that's true. You must
Yeah.
live your life. You must be natural.
Yeah, like you shouldn't just, it can't just be the art in itself, like, because you end up living in a vacuum. I think it's so important to, that's why I love traveling. I think you get to learn about so many things about other people, about other cultures, also about yourself when you're traveling. And then the life that you live gets to feed your art and you create better art that way rather than just talking to the same kinds of people all the time and just being hyper focused on your art and getting it right or getting it perfect. You gotta live your life. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And I have a question off the record. Like this was not on the list, but our team found out something. Like 8 years ago, I guess this is sung by you. Come to your senses. Was that
Oh
you?
my gosh. Okay. That's such a, okay, I sang that song years ago, yes.
And I just listened to it, and I felt like it was the original one. I'm not disrespecting the original creator, but you sang really well. So can we have two lines for our audience?
What to sing?
Yes, why not?
uh, um, what's the song? What's the chorus again? Come to your senses, suspense is fine if you're just unemanated out of the stream. Maybe be real, you can feel again. I've forgotten the lyrics. It's been so long since I sang the song.
That's
But yeah,
absolutely
there you
fine, but
go.
you have such a great voice, I must say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I started with my interest in performing started with musicals, which explains the singing. But I still sing quite a lot. I do my best to it's a way for me to express myself, and so sometimes I would post videos of me singing on Instagram because it helps me to have a release, to not just be, you know, it's important for me to have a form of expressing myself and not just focusing on coaching and doing admin work with my business. And that's why I find moments of letting myself sing because it helps me release emotions, even taking dance classes. Yeah,
And
that's so
one,
funny. You made me sing for this podcast.
but that was great actually. That was great. This is one of the
Thank
best
you.
part
Thank
of our
you.
podcast. And just connecting this, are you a Taylor Swift fan?
I wouldn't say that I'm a fan, but I have a lot of friends who are big fans, but I have listened to her songs.
Okay. So how do you see her as an artist?
I think she's very impressive in terms of what she's able to do. I mean, she's like on a global scale.
She's
The
just
amount of things that she's able to produce is so impressive.
yes, she has
I don't know
influenced
how
lives.
many, yeah, influence lives. I don't know how many hours in a day she has to be able to do so many things. I mean, she directed one of her music videos, right? So to have that many interests, I also just think women, a lot of female artists are so good at multitasking
I
and
agree.
juggling so
I
many
agree
hats.
this.
It's like I think about like what I said, Reese Witherspoon as a producer, thinking about Nicole Kidman, Emma Stone. Like you look at the amount of things. I don't know how Nicole Kidman is able to shoot so many things and produce so many things in a year. It's kind of
That's
wild.
incredible.
Um,
Incredible, actually.
yeah, and I think it's really inspiring, and um, I aspire to be able to do many things because I am very ambitious and driven and want to live many lives in this one lifetime. Um, but that being said, I also learn to pace myself and do my best not to get burnt out, which I think is important.
Yeah, that's right. So, just moving to our last question, what's your message for the aspiring actors from the Philippines as well as from the globe?
My message for aspiring actors, be curious, it's so important. Do your best to, you gotta train. If you wanna be an actor, you gotta train, you gotta learn. Pursuing a career in acting is a lot of rejection. And so perceiving rejection as redirection is so important. A lot of the time, I've faced so many rejections in my life, but I think what's helped me is seeing it as an opportunity to pivot. It's like, okay, this one pathway is not working, I'll do this one. Because when I plan out my life, I see multiple pathways available. And so I just like shoot my shot and see which one sticks, and that will dictate my next step. And that helps me not take rejection so badly. Because I just see, oh, it's not for me. There's another thing that's better, that's more aligned with me and my values. Also, find your people. Find your people. Because if you pursue this alone, you wouldn't want to pursue this alone. It will drive you crazy. So find your people that you can connect with and collaborate with and create with. And when you're struggling with the industry, having people to talk to helps. Yeah. And just go for it. If it's for you, it's for you. And the other thing for aspiring actors, your biggest strength that you should really lean on is your uniqueness, because there's only one you. And so that's why mastery of the self is so important. There's only one you. And so when you let yourself be you, not trying to please others, be authentically you and master that and lean into your truthful instincts, that's what's going to make you stand out, rather than going for like cliche choices. And in that way, when you're in the audition room and you're doing your thing, right, you're showing the kind of service that you give, right, that then when you do get rejected, or if you do get rejected, if you are able to do what you set out to do, it stings less, because it's like, okay, here's my calling card, here's my service, this is my take on this character and this piece, and then after that, okay, I did my thing, on to the next one.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's a very clear message, that be curious and be unique about yourself.
Yeah.
That is what you're saying.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, mastery of the self. And it's really being like, Meisner is something that I apply not just in acting but in real life.
Okay.
Allowing myself to feel, being honest with myself, being honest with people. I don't really filter myself anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like take people as they are.
Okay.
It's like the if you're familiar with the let them theory, it's like, okay, this is the kind of person they are,
Mhm.
given that they're this kind of person, this is how I would interact with them.
Okay.
Right. And letting yourself be truthful, and also like protecting your energy. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm done with my questions, and it was great talking to you, Alecx. And I believe
Thank
this
you.
won't be enough. I guess we must do another podcast to just cover a more depth topics, so that we can just speak a lot about this industry.
Yes, there's so much to talk about,
Yeah.
for sure.
I hope you enjoyed this talk.
Yes, I did. I love talking, so I can yap for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for talking with us, and it was great.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you soon again.
We'll see you soon too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.